DJ Vlad woke up this morning feeling like 50 Cent. He is going off. He's beefing with, other hip-hop media sources. Let's start off with the first situation. He woke up this morning by saying, and this message was addressed to Peter Rosenberg, for all up-and-coming hip-hop media outlets, look at Peter Rosenberg for what not to do. Same dead-end, low-paying job for 20 years, never got a promotion. In fact, he got demoted when Ebro took the main position on Hot 97 morning show. Spent 18 years uploading on his YouTube channel, only to have 50,000 followers. Most of the videos he drops gets less than 1,000 views. Hated on every new media person who came in the game. Formed no relationships with any of us. Will ultimately retire broke and bitter. All right, and then he goes on top of that to show a screenshot of the bed's actual channel so you can see what's going on. Now, for those that don't know who Peter Rosenberg is a host on the Hot 97. He's been a host over there for a couple of years, like Vlad says. Me personally, I've always been questionable about who is he, and his views have always been the complete opposite of what we felt of real hip-hop culture is in New York on that side. So I always question his ability, and Vlad is right. He never really grew from that position. Now, as radio, at that time, he would have felt like he was solidified. And at that time, nobody would have taken him out of his position being on the radio. But since then, podcasting has taken over and has, grown to this big level that has grown. And VladTV, I have to be honest, is a part of that culture. So Peter Rosenberg will respond very petty as well. He would come back and say, oh, snap, someone just sent this to me during commercial at First Take. I think he's actually on the First Take thing. Has nothing to do with the hip-hop culture. But anyway. Then he says, glad you're exploiting people on YouTube. Stuff is going well, man. Now, what I'm getting from that is that it goes back to that old school mindset of thinking that, reporting on the media is wrong. I don't think there's nothing wrong. I don't think that, setting up a platform for people to come through and, discuss what's going on in the media. The extent that people take it, that's just on you. Nobody can really force you, bust you in the head to answer a question. So, take it to that extent. But, I don't think most rappers would want to sit down with a Rosenberg. I don't think that there's a connection base. What do we connect on? He's the type to bring up a Lupe in a year when nobody's thinking about Lupe and we're thinking about other artists. Not saying that Lupe ain't good, but he's the type to just do that. He'll be like, yeah, Lupe. And it's like, what are you talking about? So one thing about Rosenberg's approach to the culture is one side of it. It's an underground approach, and I think that Vlad's approach is more of a commercial base. It's more of a on surface base. This, whole beef that they had didn't just start from, them going back and forth on the tweet. I mean, they went back and forth, in the media in the past as well. Just like when Rosenberg was on the Bootleg Kev podcast.
Did you see the meme that they posted on Twitter, and it was me and you and Adam22 and Vlad? Someone posted like a meme of all four of our photos, and they said, this is hip-hop media.
Yeah, yo, that was hilarious.
They used the worst photo of me ever. It was, I was like, oh, God.
That's even worse. Not only was it the idea of the photo, but then a bad picture on top of it. My main issue that I took with that was just I know there are people who don't like me. I know I've said things that people hold on to, and rather than thinking of something that you may have done that they liked, or 10 times when that you did something they may have liked, they remember that thing that made them not like you. But it was just such a lazy assessment, yo. That was just...
Of course.
Listen, I'll take you and I being thrown in a category together because there are actually legitimate similarities you could point to.
Right.
Where are you? And I don't know what their relationships are, so I don't want to put you in a bad spot. But where you get to comparing us to Adam22 and Vlad, and I get Adam22 and Vlad going together because they get people to say some semi-incriminating, crazy shit. I get the whole op thing, but you and I, two kind of DJ nerds,
right.
Who are respectful of the music and culture. I just don't. That was such to me That was a lazy but very funny.
It was funny.
I feel like Vlad is adding a lot of substance to the culture. I got to be honest, and I don't feel like I've never really heard what Peter Rosenberg's, attachment to the culture is. I think a lot of his opinions have been dated, and because they were dated, it kind of made it so that he didn't try anything else. So, they also mentioned he didn't try nothing else. Now, with these people having two different views, I would wonder, why couldn't they never just get into business? Why would stop them from actually, getting together and working on some actual business that can be conducive to both of them? And then I did my research and found that Peter Rosenberg did try to do business with Vlad, and this is exactly how it said it went.
The first time I met this, the first time I met the walking emblem of culture vulture.
Wait, is this Patreon?
No, is this Patreon? We good. I've told you this story. I've told everyone this story. All of our listeners know this story. The man asked me, he was like, yo, man, we should do some work together. You just got to give me your YouTube login and password. And, we should do some stuff. And I was like, yo, bro, get the fuck in my face. From that moment on, I knew this is a fucking, the stereotypes they have of our people. This is it. Walk away. When they say, hey, how can let's do some work together. I don't know why he's a French. He became like Dracula or something.
French vampire Jew.
French vampire Jew. But the first time I met him, and he was like, oh, if you give me your login and password, because I was like, no.
But what are you saying? Why would he want your login and password?
Because at the time, I was hot on YouTube. This is way back before we were frigid, way back, early days, pre anything. Yeah. And he was already, rubbing his fingers together and getting all excited to figure out how to make money in this space. Good for him. He did a great job of it. But yeah, listen, maybe he meant nothing by it. But when someone says, yo, we should work together, I don't even know them, and they go, let me just get your login info. Nah. And then I've watched how this whole thing's played out. I think I made the right call.
Yeah, so this whole thing is not nothing that just started. They know each other prior to this, and knowing each other, prior to this, they probably made a choice back then. We're not going to kick it no more, and that's respectable. People are allowed to go their own ways. But the main thing is that Vlad recently still did, try to poke the bear and do his little Curtis Jackson thing on his platform in an interview that he had with academics.
Like bum-ass Peter Rosenberg, I remember when me and Elliot, did the interview and we both agreed that Nadeska doesn't belong on the power list. But, I remember bum-ass Peter Rosenberg.
He on the list?
No, he's never on any of these lists. Come on, Peter Rosenberg has never been on anybody's list.
Oh, man.
He's just happy to be keeping that job. Because if he got fired,
Ebro was too high on that list. I'm gonna be honest with you.
He was below me. I actually got a kick out of that. I was 6 and he was 7.
Yeah, but
wait, was I?
People don't go.
I was
people
6
don't go
7.
to people go to Vlad TV and get hip hop content. Nobody goes to Ebro.
Yeah, Peter. Someone sent me this. Peter Rosenberg put up a story where he said, if you pay for interviews and are behind the camera, you shouldn't be on a rap list. You should be on a narc list or some shit. And I'm like, this motherfucker don't even want to say my name, huh? F him. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're never on anyone's fucking list, ever, on any level. And if you lost your job, which you're very lucky to have, you would probably be homeless. Like, he's a bum. I remember he was hating on Charlemagne.
Yeah, now
I was like,
now
yo, this is like a guy in the last row of the fucking throwing popcorn.
So what I got from the whole situation is that they both have different backgrounds. Now, one doesn't mean he's better than the other. And that's what I think we're all getting confused. Like, I think Vlad is forgetting that he really got his first $100,000 because he got punched in the face by Rick Ross. You did sue Rick Ross, and you did do a culture vulture move in that light, because that is kind of like telling on the man. Because I felt like if y'all got into it and then leave it alone, but to sue him is kind of like a different level. But that's not the whole point that I wanted to make. The point that I do want to make is that y'all both utilize the culture in your own way. Do I feel that Vlad will always be a part of the culture? Yes. Rosenberg, I just think will be questionable. And that's my personal view. You guys might have a different view, and that's exactly why I do the type of content that I do. But I feel that, you know, one and the other is different. You know, Vlad gave us the person that, you know, gave us the interview with the person that knows what happened with Pop. You understand what I'm saying? Like, even if something happens to Vlad tomorrow, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you're going to use his history for what he does. He says they use a lot of his content for what's going on. I've never seen a hip-hop conversation that really needed a Rosenberg. You know, I think that sticking up for just sticking up for underground rappers doesn't make you pivotal, you know, in the hip-hop community or hip-hop media. And I think that's kind of what Rosenberg did now. But you guys would have to actually grow up in the East Coast and, you know, watch, you know, listen to Hot 97 and see what I'm talking about. And I always felt the same way about it. But let me know your guys' views in the comments, man. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the top bell, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out of here.